Hi, everyone, and welcome to episode 2 of Star Wars Last Hope. Now, the last time we left off our intrepid group of incredibly anti-heroes, they had just been caught doing some really shady stuff for the rebellion, and given the fact that they weren't really given much of a proper trial or anything, they were led to an area to essentially be executed. With a very interesting and almost desperate attempt by Mor Terran, he managed to get himself, well, fortunately released, but not before two extremely large turbo lasers obliterated them. And obliterated, of course, is probably the nicest way of saying turn them into misty goo. Fortunately, what they saw was actually a holographic display of them being executed and sent out on the galactic net. This being so because the rebellion wanted them to be able to kind of have a second chance, a clean slate, and anyone who disliked these individuals now think that they're dead. They had a contact that they met up with by the name of Major Denner Rain. Major Rain gave them all a mission. Very simple one at first. This mission was to extract a deep cover agent, one working for the rebellion, from the clutches of a Hutt by the name of Groola. Groola had set up what looked to be a nightclub operation based out of the Corellian city of Tixanna, which is a major tourist hotspot. Upon getting to the establishment, they managed to scout out the place, talk a little bit to some of the locals, managed to piss off a table full of off-duty Imperial stormtroopers, which, I mean, who wouldn't? And, luckily, were able to gain access to a secret area, a back door, to what looked to be an illegal gambling den located in the next building that was attached through I guess, less than legal means. Upon going into this gambling den, they managed to talk to a person by the name of Captain Severin. This guy was going to be going to Bestine 4 to get hooked up with a brand new cruiser that was being built in the ocean shipyard. And this new cruiser, unbeknownst to him, was destroyed by some other members of Havoc Squad in another game, and also told them that a very select group of highly specialized advanced fighter craft were being built specifically to combat the rebellion and put a swift end to this uprising. After creative strategic analysis of certain games, they managed to win at a few gambling areas, and a dancer by the name of Tixanna, a incredibly beautiful woman, had introduced herself to Mor and asked to dance for him. Of course, not wanting to upset the locals, Mor was more than happy to follow this young woman, and she announced herself as the deep cover rebel spy. Unfortunately, after this announcement, the door was kicked open to their private room, and a great hulking Nautilin, flanked by several guards, all pointing blasters at them, told them that Groola was interested in speaking with them. And now you're caught up, which is great because I needed that catch up too. So, now that we have that out of the way, let us begin session 2 of Star Wars Last Hope. The normally raucous and noisy casino has been brought to an absolute standstill as 100 pairs of eyes are staring at the three of you being marched down to the front main area, the stage, as it were. Seated on a large Divin is a strange-looking hut, a bit smaller than what you would normally imagine huts to be. Smoking a hookah, surrounded by two dancers, the hut kind of rubs its chin a bit, points to the three of you. Dusha nawakia panahiawa taflo praktakini wanga wanga. The Nautilin looks. The mighty Groola asks why you are here disturbing his casino. You will answer him.
I'm just going to be stood there sort of looking towards the others, waiting for them to answer, because protocol and introductions aren't really my thing.
Mighty and most affluent and effervescent Groola, we apologize for causing any sort of upset here in your palace. That is not our intent.
Rikalachi shohukama talapatothraha. And the Nautilin kind of looks. You are trying to take one of the dancers away. A noted rebel spy of sorts. Are you working with the rebellion?
Moore's eyes widen when he says that. No. Oh, globular Groola, that is not my intent. It's quite embarrassing. Honest, I've fallen in love. I thought I was some kind of hero. I was hoping to take her away from all this.
Kata remains silent but nods emphatically as the story begins to unfold.
I'll tell you what. Sorry, I'm trying to look for making a bullshit check.
Deception.
Thank you. Which I can't seem to find that page. Yes, make me a deception check more. This will be a difficulty of I know. This will be a difficulty of 1 red and 1 purple. Ballsy though.
Hey.
Okay. Now, for the ease of this conversation, I'm just going to be speaking as a Nautilin, just to understand that, I'm not going to be doing So he said, Groola says, well, so you've fallen in love with this woman. All right. That is good to know. Because you still disrupted my casino. You caused all of these people much heartache. So, what do you think we are going to do with you?
Oh, lordly and rotund Groola, I simply do not know. Perhaps I can serve you for a time, or something to make up for this terrible slight that I have caused you.
I calculate that there's an over 70% chance that some sort of violence is about to occur.
You see, I think that maybe you do love this woman. That being said, we'll give you a choice. Of course, both choices will benefit me. but maybe both of them may benefit you. If you truly love this woman, then you can either fight for her, or since you don't want to disrespect me, you can work for me, do one job, and I will release her. Which one would you like to do?
Moore will like look down at himself. He's like scrawny. He's a computer geek. Oh, fabulous and flabulous Groola. You are most generous to offer such to me, a lowly peon. Thank you for your generosity. I will do whatever I can. I am skilled in some ways to do this job for you, for my love.
What is the job?
Very simple. All you have to do is put this tracker, and the large Nautilin produces what looks to be like kind of a basketball kind of spheroid looking device with a few like antennae and other things attached to it. Put this tracking device inside a packing crate. That is all. Then you can come back, walk away with your lady love, and you will never step foot in here again, lest you get torn apart by my pets.
Moore will kind of shoot a look towards the other two to see if what they think, basically.
I nod slightly.
Kata does the same.
Good. Then it is agreed. Go to this place. Put the tracker on. Come back when you have finished. And then you may take Tixanna away. But if you fail, make sure you die. Because if you come back here with it unsuccessful, you will wish you have been killed by a blast of fire. Are we clear?
We are crystal clear. Corpulent Groola.
Good. Now, get out of my sight. And Groola just like points to the door. As you look at the door, like you can hear the rattling of chains, and a large kind of neck manacle gets like fitted onto Tixanna's throat as she's kind of shoved towards Groola. If you guys are leaving, which I assume you guys are starting to start heading out. Just before you go, Groola just says one thing, just kind of looks back. And like the whole group of people start laughing. The Nautilin doesn't translate. He doesn't even say a damn thing. He just just quiet, stifling a laugh himself as the door kind of opens up for you. And
could I attempt some kind of roll to see what he said, like an underworld or something like that?
Go for it.
I understand what he's. Yeah. Sweet. Let's see. Oh yeah. Okay. So, sorry, I'm still getting used to this weird thing.
I might have a go at that myself. It's my underworld's fairly high.
Difficulty?
Say again?
What's the difficulty?
Apologies. It'll probably be, I'd say about 2 purple. Say 2 difficulty.
Well, I don't know anything about it.
I know exactly what he said. It looks like.
Yep. So basically what he said was either even if you do the job, I would be surprised if you would get your cowardly asses back here. Either way, I win. And you kind of, now it's not just what he said, because with those two advantage, it's how he said it. The Hutty's inflections in the voice, you get the idea that it sounds like what he's saying is when you do go there, I'm going to see if you've got the guts to do what you're even going to do. Is
Okay.
do you understand what I mean?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. So as you guys head out and you leave right at Groola's place, you're given a data pad. Data pad has just one address on it. The address is for what looks to be a local spaceport in the tourist district. There's a small one, kind of like a shuttle service that can handle slightly larger sized freighters. Nothing massive like a Gallifrey, but still something large like a YT 1300, for example. Like kind of a larger space. As you get to the space.
I was just going to say, as we're sort of heading out, is it possible for me to take a closer look at this sort of basketball-sized tracking device they've given us? And
Yes.
I'm basically trying to establish sort of roughly how powerful it is, whether it's got like any secondary functions, like, if it's like a bomb or anything like that, effectively.
Certainly.
So looking at it with my mechanics knowledge, effectively. Or computers, whichever you deem appropriate.
I'll tell you what, I'll let you decide on that one, because it could go either way. So if you wanted to do mechanics, you can look at the actual physical aspects of it and discern from it, or computer, you can try and see if you can hook into it and kind of.
I'll assist
go
for
for the
that to give him a
computers.
boost?
Sorry, say that again, Kata?
Can I assist to give him a boost? I'm trained in both mechanics and
Yes, definitely. So you'll gain a boost die on that one.
Can I
Trigani,
attempt the other one? So if he attempts mechanics, I could do computers, or whichever way around.
I'm on computers at the moment.
Yeah, I've got to really high mechanics.
okay. I mean, if you want to assist him, and give
Sure,
him
I'll
a
just-
second boost.
That's what I'll do.
Sure. So so when you make a roll, please, it'll be give yourself 2 boost die, and it's going to be 1 red, 1 purple.
Advantages.
Okay. So you know that this type of a tracking device, basically what it does is it has a range of approximately a few hyper jumps. So it's not necessarily just a tracking device so someone can tail, but it's a tracking device that kind of lights up a ship, or lights up itself up for other ships to come and find them. At least that's the way the programming is entailed. It looks to be like a repurposed distress signal from an escape pod that seems to have been repurposed. And what it seems to be repurposed for is, it looks like to be on a time delay, and there's something's going to happen with it that is going to try and knock out power to whatever you put it into. So if it's going to put it into, let's say, a cargo hold, it's meant to kind of send out a pulse and kind of drain power from whatever ship that it would be in. That's what seems to be, it looks to be its function with that role.
Okay, so we'll be sort of examining that for a while, and then after I've sort of plugged myself into it, and there's the sort of lights on the 3 sort of optical sensors on my face flicker, and then I'll turn around to the other 2 and I'll say,
This appears to be some sort of repurposed distress signal. It's been fitted with an electronic timer designed to send out some sort of pulse, perhaps electromagnetic in origin. I've not yet established that. The pulse will disable systems within a small area. The range of this thing is at least 2 or 3 hyperspace jumps.
Is it possible to disable it without it being obvious that we've done so?
It would require further investigation. The one fact that we do have in our advantage is if it is not supposed to go off until this timer reaches 0, then perhaps just disabling the timer, the tracker would still be functioning. However, when it reaches 0, it would not have the desired effects. That may buy us the time we need to obtain Tixanna and leave, having apparently accomplished our task without actually doing so. However, as yet, we don't know any further details or have any strategic analysis of the vessel or the crate that we're supposed to plant this device in. I respectfully suggest that, given Groola the Hutt's attitude, it's not simply going to be a matter of walking up and plopping this thing into a crate.
So as you guys are walking towards it, you get to the spaceport, and it seems to be just a standard spaceport. A few kind of open, what looks to be like large garage, like hangar-like areas that all seem to be pointed in different directions, so as not, when ships are taking off, they don't like smash into each other upon attempting to leave the atmosphere. You kind of scan and look around for the space, like the one dock that you're looking for, 15A, and you do see it in an area what looks to have a lot of different signs, different warning signs. The kind of general keep out private property, no trespassing. And as you kind of see it, look on a kind of like in one area, because it looks basically to be like the spaceport here, or at least what passes for a spaceport, seems to be more like I guess the best way to describe it would be kind of like a storage facility. So a whole bunch of different like kind of hangars, like smaller hangars, kind of encompassing in a large circle, and then a second level on top of that. These vessels are for like obviously smaller craft, quick little like planet runners or just different like one system hoppers kind of thing. Looking around, you did see 15A, and you kind of come to the kind of main gate, and there's kind of like one person in what looks to be kind of like a security kind of a booth, just kind of sitting there right next to a computer, and he just kind of like notices you, but goes back to the Galnet to do whatever he's doing.
Do you wish me to attempt to plant the device in the specified crate? As a droid, it may be easy for me to pass unseen here, since droids are traditionally used for menial labor and dock loading purposes.
I think that's wise. Although you're not traditionally a laboring droid.
That is correct. I'm a super tactical droid.
That you are.
Very well, in which case, pass me the device.
Yeah, I do so.
And my plan is basically just to sort of walk in, possibly pick up like another crate or something, just walk around as though I'm sort of doing the standard sort of dock load, a droid style stuff, look for this crate that we're supposed to plant this thing in, put the crate I've picked up, the random crate I've picked up, sort of down on top of it, and as I do so, drop the device into the crate below.
Okay. As you get to hangar 15A, or at least like docking port 15A, you do notice unsurprisingly, a YT 1300 there. You also see kind of like in each corner of this kind of hangar type structure, you see like large groups of crates. You also see 5 individuals with blasters patrolling around the vessel, where one pilot is just kind of walking around and kind of pointing out different areas, and you see other droids kind of like picking up crates. And now all these droids kind of don't look like you in any way, shape, or form. They all look basically relatively uniform, kind of basic, a very basic protocol droid. They're just like picking up these like heavier crates that a clear mortal would not be able to pick up. You do not look like these droids in any way, shape, or form. But they're just picking it up. They're just loading it on. You see the human pilot clearly. Human pilot standing there, kind of looking at a manifest and pointing out. Now, the crate that they wanted you to drop it into, crate number is 148321X. It is a designation. It is in one area around this hangar. It hopefully is still on there, and hopefully not aboard the vessel. So that is basically what you see. The mercenaries kind of look at you quickly and just carry on, seeing a droid walking around is nothing new to them.
Yeah, so as I said, I'm effectively just going to try and walk up and sort of put the crate, this random crate I've picked up, down next to the one that is the target, in a sort of way so that I'm sort of stood with my back to as many of the people as possible, so that all they can see is me putting this crate down. And as I sort of bend over, shielding the target crate, if you will, assuming that it's possible to lift the top off and drop the tracker in, that's what I'll do.
Okay. What I would say is make me a perception check. I think would probably be the best one to see if you can. Now, of course, being a droid, it's a lot different. You can quickly scan, like small crate identification numbers all across the area. So as you're kind of walking, I imagine that you're probably wanting to take the longest route possible to set it down to scan as many crate numbers, or at least try
exactly,
to. Yeah. So as you go around, just make me a perception check. It'll be a difficulty of 3 purple. So you see, as you're looking, you're scanning around quickly. You see, kind of quickly off the top of your, just out of the one corner as you pick up, at the furthest corner, you do see that crate, and the crate is kind of just sitting on its own, but there is one guard kind of standing there, kind of watching that crate, not really standing guard in front of it, like kind of weapon at the high port, but he's kind of standing there, just kind of keeping an eye on it, looking fairly bored.
Can we see this observing from our position?
I imagine that you guys would have gotten into position, at least into a position, kind of the standing casual, not being staring.
So when I see him make it over there and then see that there's obviously a guard kind of hovering by the crate that he's interested in, I'm going to turn to where is it here in my notes? Mortaron, and give him a hard shove and yell out drunkenly, What's the meaning of this? I saw her first. And yell it real loud and drunkenly. So I give him a shove.
Unfortunately, right now, we kind of lost Lloyd for a second, but what I'll do is, I'll just try. Nope, I will not. So, more. Kada, in his own kind of a way, trying to think quickly, drunkenly shoves you, and in a drunken voice says, I saw her first.
You son of a bitch, no you didn't. And I'm going to step on his toe.
And then we have PC on PC combat.
Yeah, so when he does that, I'll howl in pain and kind of bend forward and return the favor and try to stomp on his foot. And I'll actually, like, I'll purposely miss as I'm trying to appear drunk and, like, stumble into him and push him again as I, like, kind of fall into him.
Yeah, I'll stumble back as well and fall onto the ground and be like, oh, God damn it.
A couple of the guards seem to kind of like look over from where they're standing, and they begin to kind of walk toward you, like kind of like what the hell is this? You know, kind of a couple of them smiling to each other. There's still two guards. There's still two guards left, as three of them have come over. The security guard that was inside the kind of the gated off area, he begins to walk towards you and, what is the meaning of this? What are you two doing here?
I saw her first, and he's trying to steal her away, and I'm like trying to slap his face as we're rolling around on the ground.
It's bullshit. I saw her first, you piece of shit.
Stop this! Stop it! And you know, he kind of goes for like to try and kick you guys. You know, just kind of like break you guys apart. He's just shouting at you two. Meanwhile, a fourth one of these mercenaries begins to kind of walk away, and now you're just left, Tragani, with the one guard that's just kind of he's standing there kind of at the actual box of the crate, but he's excuse me, he's not paying attention to you. He's paying attention to the fight out there.
Okay, that's absolutely fine. So what I'm doing is, as I'm sort of approaching the crate, I'm going to observe him sort of closely, and I'd like to use my thorough assessment ability. Effectively, I'm going to be observing sort of his reactions, how he's sort of responding to this, exactly sort of assessing how distracted he is effectively, so I can then take maximum advantage of it. And basically what that ability allows me to do is, once a session, I can make a hard knowledge check, and the number of successes I gain boost dice that can be distributed during the encounter.
Sure.
To represent my sort of increased knowledge.
No problem.
I was going to suggest Underworld as the knowledge, because they're obviously like smugglery types.
Yeah, I mean, you could definitely tell they're mercs. Like that, like not their armor all doesn't match up the same. Like they're not uniformed. They're not Imperial. They're not Rebellion. You know, there's nothing that kind of denotes. You could definitely tell these guys would be more comfortable, you know, hanging out with the Black Suns than.
The role's failed anyway, so I've got no benefit. So perhaps he's better at sort of covering his the distraction, or maybe I'm slightly distracted myself entirely.
However, you do have 2 advantage. So this is what I'm going to say. Even though, like, you know, you focus in on things, and it doesn't seem to like your assessment just says like reads unknown, you know, kind of flashing across your display. The mercenary kind of looks back at you, and you got this.
Confirmed.
All right, I gotta find out what's going on here. And he kind of like starts to trundle off a little bit towards it. The pilot has since retreated up into the cargo hold of the vessel, and you can hear him kind of banging around in there as more droids are like picking up more crates and are beginning to kind of walk them up to the up into the cargo hold of the 1300.
Okay, so I'm going to put the tracker sort of as subtly as I can into the crate, and I want to ask, since we've like fairly sort of analysed it to within an inch of its life and its programming, etc. I was wondering, what are the chances of sort of later on, because we obviously know what signal it's going to send out, etc., that we'd also be able to track it as well as Groola?
What I'll say is make me a mechanics check to see if you can fiddle around with it. This will be a mechanics check, probably difficulty of 1 red and 2 purple, it'll be fairly difficult because it does seem fairly complex. And the problem with this is because it was jerry-rigged, it also seems very touchy.
Okay, did you say what was the difficulty? Sorry, 1 red and
1 red, 2 purple.
Okay, so that's a
look at
4
this guy.
successes on a threat.
All right, so not only are you able to rewire it for you to understand it, but then as you open it up, you see whoever did make this did such a sloppy job of putting things together. By you being able to reprogram it, well, not reprogram it, but being able to like pick up the signal from it, you're able to also knock out the EMP explosion from it, if you so desire.
What I'd like to do is, rather than just sort of knock it out, effectively, what I'd like to do is try and put almost like a sort of switch in it, like an electronic switch, because we don't know exactly what's going on with this. I mean, to be fair, these guys seem like they're mercenaries. What do I care if their ship gets EMP'd, to be perfectly honest? Not my business. But if try and put the sort of like almost like a dead man switch in, so that if we find out later that we do want to stop it, we can effectively like transmit a code to it, which will shut off the timer or stop it working.
Okay, then you are definitely able to do that, especially using what seems to be, and especially with that kind of success, you're actually able to grab what looks to be a pneumatic wrench from on top of another crate. You're actually able, as you're picking it up, your hands are able to disassemble it with one hand and use the parts from that thing to kind of hook together and kind of place into this like kind of a switch to kind of knock it out when you need to. Also, you pick up the frequency from that thing, and it's now like, you know, kind of imprinted into your memory banks.
Yeah, cause I was thinking effectively like when this signal goes out, it'd almost sort of like ping me, because I've got like a transmitter built into myself, and then effectively I could like respond with either like, yeah, go ahead and set off the pulse, or like, no, cancel the detonation sort of thing.
Okay. So, what do you like to do with it? You want to put it in the crate?
Yeah, I'm going to put it in the crate, put the top back on the crate, put the random crate I was carrying on top of it, and then okay. I'm going to watch the other droids to see if they're like loading the crates onto the ship.
Now the question is, yep.
Sorry, go ahead, dude.
I was going to say, the question is, are you planning on, like, do you plan on like opening the crate up, putting the thing inside, like as directed, or are you going to try and like put it on the side of the crate?
Yeah, if I can lift up the top of the crate, I'll lift up the crate, put it in, drop the top down.
Yeah, because the crate's about the size of a foot locker. So as you open the crate up, on the lid, you see the symbol for the rebellion. Inside, you will see what appears to be several, what looks to be like small modular tactical tanks of Bacta. The symbols on the tanks themselves, you see as what looks to be a circle with kind of like a 3-hooked hand or 3-clawed hand on the in the middle of the tanks, kind of put on like in black kind of paint, or some black kind of a stuff, all on all of these smaller tanks.
How big are these smaller tanks of Bacta?
These tanks are probably about the size of what looks to be like scuba gear, like a scuba tank, but like kind of like a small, like, let's say if we were to put it in actual dimensions, the diameter of the tank is probably about 6 inches, and it's about 10-12 inches long. So I mean, it's like a kind of like a small thing you could just administer Bacta to. It's basically, it seems to be for like soldiers in the field.
Okay, that I'll make a sort of, I'll sort of record that in my droid memory, and then I'll drop in the transmitter, put the top down.
Okay.
Happy days. Like I say, I'm going to see if the other robots, the other droids, are loading crates onto the ship because obviously I don't want to give myself away. So if they are, I'll likewise pick up these 2 crates, take them on board, and then leave.
As you set the one crate down on top of the other crate, a pair of metallic hands goes in and grabs the crate in front of you, picks it up, and begins to walk onto the vessel. As it grabs it, it kind of like looks at you for a second, and in binary says, "You're gonna pick up that crate and put it on the vessel, or are you gonna stand here like an R1 unit?" And it begins to kind of walk up to the storage.
I'll pick up the crate sort of under my arm, and like I'm gathering it's like a normal sort of like dock loading droid.
Yeah, it's basically like a cantankerous robotic dock worker, as they all are.
Okay, so I'm just going to pick up this other crate, carry it on board, and I'll be sort of walking fairly quickly, like passing past him on the ramp. And as I walk past, I'll say,
"You are an older dock model, B1. You are obsolete." Of course, I am taking the crate on board. Why would you even ask such a ridiculous question?
Well, hurry up. And he goes in and he sets the crate down, goes back over, and you see like its arms are kind of like almost like basically almost like forklifts, like it basically just lifts it straight up, kind of spins around and starts loading it up. So you're grabbing that crate, the one that you just dropped. Yeah.
I'll grab that crate, carry it up, put it on, and I'm gonna make myself scarce.
Okay. So as you grab it, you pop it on, and as you come back, you see writhing on the ground Mort and Kata wrestling on the ground, and a few of the mercenaries are just starting to laugh, and they're just starting to get in on it, and they're like start clapping, and they're like, come on, you can get him, come on, and just and they're just kind of like chuckling away.
Okay, so I'm going to sort of like walk in behind these mercenaries to where my 2 companions are rolling around on the ground, and then in sort of a fairly sort of loud voice, I'll say,
"Please accompany me to the security office and desist this immediately." "Please stand and accompany me to the security office, or I'll be forced to contact further authorities. Please comply."
Okay. Oh, cool. He started it. I'm kind of like.
"Irrelevant. Please accompany me to the security office."
And then my plan's basically to like lead those 2 offers that I'm walking them away to the security office. Then we'll just sort of like disappear around the corner.
The mercenaries start laughing and shaking their head, and they start walking back to the hangar. Especially, which is surprising because especially since the pilot is starting to yell at him to tell him to get back, as he appears to be a little on the nervous side as well. The one droid worker that had, I guess, been crossed with you, kind of like is standing there staring and kind of like tilts its head back and then like turns around and it kind of walks back into the hangar. But you guys do manage to get out of the kind of docking port area.
Okay, so as soon as we're sort of out of earshot and we're sort of like out of the area, I'll turn to the others and I'll say,
"I've successfully planted the device on board the ship. It would appear to be a rebellion-affiliated craft that is carrying, amongst other things, portable tanks of Bacta fluid for the healing of biological life forms."
Oh. Shit. Well, we don't want that to go off, do we?
Why
That
is
would
it
not be ideal.
Can you say that again?
That would not be ideal.
I fail to see why it is of any relevance to our current situation.
Because we're working for the rebellion.
under duress,
But if
and we are achieving our original mission. Our original mission parameters were to recover the contact, which we are doing. Our parameters were not to protect vessels of the rebellion fleet.
Yep. You got me there.
I suggest we return to the Hutt's gambling establishment where you can claim your prize.
Yep. And Morris just like scratching his head like, is this the right thing to do? But he's like, okay.
If it solves your conscience at all more, I have installed a switch inside the device so that just before the pulse is emitted, when the counter reaches 0, it will contact me for final confirmation. Therefore, if we do decide that we do not wish the pulse to go off, I can send a signal which will cause it to deactivate itself.
That is why you're on the team.
Ha! Why didn't you say that before? And I like slap him on the shoulder and then like wince and shake my hand as I'm.
It did not seem relevant.
I just look to Mortaron and shake my head.
Yeah.
So is the three of you feeling relatively good, except for Trigani 4, who feels nothing. Make your way back to the Hutt casino, Grooula's palace, as it were. As you make your way back in, you see Groola sitting in his kind of opulent kind of throne, and the place seems to be a bit more lively now that the four of you had gone, and everyone kind of seems to be doing their own thing. Groola looks to the four of you, or excuse me, the three of you, and Fengal, of course, translates again. Did you accomplish the mission you were sent to do?
We did, of course.
And then he looks at Groola and asks him for confirmation. You can tell this because he immediately picks up a device and begins like pressing some buttons, and it seems that the thing is pulsing. This is, of course, attached to those very lucky 4 successes you had. If you'd only had 1, he would have caught on. So he kind of nods his head, and the Hutt says, "Well, I can see your loyalties lie to yourself. Perhaps when you're finished with the rebellion, you can work for me. I can offer you a good business arrangement. Money, power, women, whatever you want. As long as you don't mind getting your hands dirty."
Money and power sound fantastic, almighty Groola, but there's only one woman for me.
Still holding on to that lie. Well, fine. And he kind of raises up his hand, and Tixanna gets kind of pushed out towards you. The kind of the neck manacle unchained. You can definitely tell there's a bit of chafing. She kind of like rubs her neck a bit, and just in almost a very quiet voice, she just says, "Let's go." And she just begins to walk away from the
follow.
Yeah.
I'll give a bow to Groola and then leave.
For a couple of moments, Kata's still standing there, his eyes sparkling and dancing with the ideas of money and power. And then after a moment, he notices he's standing there alone, and he quickly turns and runs after the others.
Nice. Tixanna kind of walks with you guys, kind of down this main promenade, and it goes up and over into like kind of this very high, like kind of balcony, like this kind of like an upper walkway, kind of through. And she's talking with the three of you. Well, thank you for getting me out of there. I'll admit, it would have gotten a lot easier if you hadn't blown your cover.
We were unfortunately not given the full parameters of this mission.
You were given enough that you needed. What you didn't need to do was speak and have a charming conversation with the 5 individuals in the front of the establishment who are there to weed out individuals like you. You didn't really think they were Imperial soldiers, did you? Come now.
I agree the biological need for small talk is perplexing.
Yes, well.
Hey, Tooch, you could still be back there with that thing around your neck.
Charming. Absolutely charming. However, unfortunately, one does not leave Groola without some sort of reminder. I still spied on the Empire in his own palace, and to that he deems too much of a risk. Here, I need to give you something. And she kind of holds out her arm and kind of pulls up her sleeve. And she kind of like puts her palm open, and you see her kind of like moving her fingers along what looks to be her skin, and a kind of cybernetic opening kind of opens up in her arm, this little kind of door, and you see what looks to be just this really small data stick. Here, I need you to get this to Major Rain. I can't go back. I can never go back. You may not believe in this. You may not believe in the rebellion. You may want to go your own way and be your own people and make money and power like Groola wanted you to. But if there's one thing I'm asking you is to believe in something that is greater than yourself. Believe that you are part of something big. And this data stick is a first step on something very, very big.
What does the data stick contain?
It is not for you to know. Just bring it back to Major Rain. He will have it analyzed, and he will probably send you on something else. But take this to him. It's important. It's more important than you, and it's more important than me.
I look at Trigani and I say, our mission was to bring her back, right?
It would appear the parameters of our initial mission are changing.
The mission has changed. I can't go back. But you can go forward and give this to Major Rain.
This is often an issue when working for an organization that does not have a strong military and tactical structure.
I really don't know why they kept you going, Dragani. I really don't. Look, please, will you do this?
Very well, give me the data crystal.
And she hands it to you.
Rather like a mirror of what she did, I'm effectively going to like pop open one of the panels on my arm, stick the data stick in it, and then close the panel
up. She smiles in relief and says, Thank you. That data crystal may save the rebellion and keep the Empire from destroying all that is good and snuffing out the last light of hope. I can't believe that 3 criminals is the rebellion's last hope. Now, please, go. I think I want to watch the sunset. And she kind of stands and walks toward the balcony. And you could see now that the sun is kind of beginning to dip into kind of the light.
When
Sorry.
when she stops to walk away, when she starts to walk away, I'll stop her and I'll move over to her and I'll, assuming she lets me, I'll grab her wrist, lift her hand, and place something in it. And when I move my hand and step back, it'll be one of my detonite charges.
She looks at it and says, no, you'll need to keep this for yourself. I don't think I'll be seeing the sunrise.
This is all very touching, but I believe we should leave.
Yes. For the first time, I agree with the metal bastard. Go.
I just thought you could take some of them with you, but and then he'll hide it back into one of his pouches and move after the others.
And then I presume we're heading off to try and find Captain Rain.
Yeah, as you begin walking back, you kind of get to what looks to be an intersection in the kind of like the height of the kind of like upper walkways. What looks to be like a very nice kind of a shuttle kind of like stops kind of in front of kind of your guys' area. As the door opens, somebody in what looks to be just kind of like regular street clothes kind of looks at the three of you, points at you three of you, and kind of like says, "Hop in."
Get him.
So as you guys fly back, you see it takes a very circumnavigous route. Like it's going, it takes like a hard right, and then it takes another hard right, like seemingly going in a completely different direction, and then kind of switches back, like basically just continuously moving in an extremely erratic pattern until finally what should have taken probably around 10, 15, 20 minutes is actually taken like 2 or 3 hours to get to, simply for the fact that, they're trying to like go in this kind of very off-putting kind of strange route. As it finally gets into this kind of hidden area, what looks to be kind of like an old, from the back now, it looks to be what looks to be an old kind of fortress that has been incredibly in disrepair, kind of overgrown. You see now that there's like kind of an opening in the kind of broken down doors, which actually only just appear to be, opens up, and the shuttle kind of just goes right in, lands, the doors open. Major Rain is standing there. He looks at the three of you and says, "Do you have the crystal?"
Yes, I have it here.
At which point I'll produce it and hold it up.
And he kind of clutches it in his hand. "You have no idea the good person that we lost to get this information." And he kind of walks away, and you see a couple of guards kind of prod you, kind of push you.
Before he goes to walk away, I'm just going to put not in a sort of aggressive manner, but I'm just going to like put a hand on his arm to like stop him. And then I'm going to say,
"You may also be interested to know that Groola the Hutt has booby-trapped one of your vessels.
And I'll reel off the specifications of like the vessel
Right.
that I put the crate on, effectively, and the device that's been put on it.
He kind of looks for a second. Says, damn it! And he kind of gets the attention of what looks to be a higher-ranking officer, and just kind of like rattles off the information really quickly. He bolts, and then he begins to he kind of like does the whole like, you know, come with me, and they begin to walk toward his office.
Commander, it may also interest you to know that I built in a method of disabling the device.
How so?
The device is fitted with a timer. When it reaches 0, it will emit an electromagnetic pulse, which will disable the vital systems of the vessel that it is planted on. I have altered the device so that when it reaches this timer, it will send a signal to me asking for a final confirmation. If I do not give the final confirmation within the allotted time, or I send it an access denied signal, it will shut down.
Good to know. Good to know. That's very good. If it's what I think it is, those rebel troops are going to need that Bacta. You saved some lives, Trigani. Must be a new thing for you.
Not at all.
Not bad. And he turns around and he walks to the office. He looks very quickly at the officer. Officer nods his head that he understood and heard everything that you said, and went running off to contact that pilot. Inside his office, he motions you all to sit, takes the data crystal, and actually sets it into a kind of like a pad. He stares at it for a moment. And what you see in the screen, while it's very complex, Trigani, you might understand it, but it seems to be kind of basic, not only some basic plans and basic ideas, but there's also a picture, or what seems to be a picture that has been taken. It is a singular vessel made by Sinar Fleet. It looks like the standard Thai shape. However, instead of the two wings, the two kind of, you know, like kind of solar panels that provide most of the twin ion engines power, this one has a trefoil design, a 3 kind of wing design. The kind of the points on it are very very pronounced. And it looks to be a very dangerous looking craft, but it is not one that you recognize.
I'll turn to my two
companions, reminiscent of one of the old droid tri-fighters that we used during the Clone Wars.
Maybe those are the new ships that Captain Severn was talking about.
Who is Captain Severn?
Oh, yeah, he's the gentleman I met when we were at the club. We had discussed a great many things. I guess a new fleet is being built on Beston.
Really?
He said something about a new custom ship, a new cruiser, I believe, something that can interfere with hyperdrives, maybe. And he'll kind of look up as he's thinking, and he also mentioned some new fighters. Points to the drawings. That might be it right there.
Hold on a moment. And he presses a button. It's kind of a communication button. Communications, contact leader, the cell leader at Bestine 4. See if you can get an idea, or at least some sort of a reconnaissance on the shipyards there. Find out if there's something going on. They must have some type of a cell, at least some type of a spy in there. See if we can get that going, and if so, maybe we can get someone to take that thing down, or at least get some more information. And you hear like Roger, and goes dead. That's really good to know, and I appreciate the information. You see another kind of like thing of data go up, and this is a little bit different. It seems to be what a note, but it is a kind of a note. It's actually written in cursive. It's very, very nice, and it says, we cordially invite you to a party in the Sluis Van, on Sluis Van, Sector Governor Malthus Frere wishes to celebrate your success amongst other loyal members of the Empire at a party the evening of, and the date is rattled off, coordinates are rattled off at his private estate. For a moment, Major Rain looks at you and looks at this note. Well, it appears that we need some people to go to a party.
A party?
I'm going to be looking around, clearly expecting him to indicate some other people besides ourselves.
I'm great at parties.
Much later this time, I'll give Dragani 7 a slap on the shoulder and say, I think we're going to a party.
Indeed. I need... Well, we're going to need you to play dress up and go as Imperial officers. If we can fake this, a couple more of these invites, we can get you sent down there. Try and get a hacker to pull up some fake stuff on the three of you. Well, the two of you. And then maybe send you down there in order to get something sorted out. You're going to need to find out more about this, about these fighters. I imagine that there's probably going to be a Signar representative there. If you can find out the location of where these fighters are being produced, that would be fantastic. And if you can find out anything more, anything extra about these things, it can only serve to help the rebellion out. We are giving you a bit more in the realm of rope. I pray that you don't hang yourself with it. It was unfortunate what happened to Tixanna. I get that. But I knew Groola wouldn't let her go. Not without this. So, you go to this party. Don't let her death be in vain.
If we have to go to this function, then I will require cosmetic chassis modification and a respray. I've observed that Imperial droids tend to be depicted in shades of black and grey, unlike myself. It would help me blend in more easily.
I think that's perfectly fair. What about the other two of you?
I'll look at the shape changer and say, I think they'll be okay, but I don't know. Maybe just a fancy suit.
We're going to get you both Imperial uniforms. Just make sure you come up with some sort of a name, and we'll do the rest. We have some good slicers on board here, or at least some good slicers in this facility that are be able to hack into Imperial Army databases and give you guys at least some sort of a decent record.
I mean, you've got a good slicer right here. Some say the best.
Fair enough. All right. If you think you're the best, come with me. He stands up and he takes the three of you to what looks to be kind of a large. Now, this computer area seems to be something out of your wildest dreams. I mean, there's about 15 monitors all kind of placed together. You see one individual who's kind of dancing his hands across this what looks to be like a multi-tiered kind of a keyboard with like tons of different macro keys and many different things, and you just see his hand just dancing across everything. They're like a blur, just shooting it like left and right, and you see several monitors. Like some monitors are like 4 monitors large with data, just kind of rolling across, while another one is like 2 or 3 monitors. You also notice that this individual has a cybernetic kind of brain implant as he's just going left to right, taking all the information. Lieutenant, and immediately stops, looks up. Individual here wishes to enter his own database or enter his own information into the Imperial database. Wishes to slice, and he without saying a word, kind of pushes the chair back, stands up, steps back, and walks out of the room. Not smiling, not angry, not in a huff, just calmly walks out. All right.
I'll jump into the chair and spin it around and like crack my fingers and begin rubbing my hands together.
Do you require assistance, Maul?
And I guess it couldn't hurt.
Very well.
And I'm going to assist to basically give him a boost with my massive computer score.
Okay. So, hacking into the Imperial Army database. Actually, what I should say is this would be the Imperial Military database. To give yourself you're basically making yourself a fake ID. I need you to roll me a computers check. This is going to be a difficulty of 2 red and 2 purple.
Before he does that, Mike, can I use my valuable facts ability? Basically, once per encounter, I can make an average knowledge check. If I'm successful, I add a triumph to one ally's skill check during the encounter.
No, wait, but is that for combat or is that for anything?
It's just a skill check.
Oh, okay. All right.
So basically, as he's hacking in, I'll be like, oh, here's all the various facts I know about military databases and how you can sort of get into them and the common algorithms they use, etc., etc.
Sounds good. I like it. Let's do for it.
Okay. Let's make my roll. So I'll be adding a triumph to Moore's roll.
That's great. I have skilled slicer, which means that if I spend a triumph, I can make further computer checks as maneuvers. So I can make a bunch of them really quickly. Also, I'm going to take 2 strain, using my cyberjack to decrease the difficulty by 1, which would be a purple gone, right? Or a red to purple. I'm not sure how that works.
I believe that would be a red to purple. So it'd be 1 red and 3 purple.
Okay. This is a big ass dice pool. Oh my goodness.
Gotta love them story dice, people. Love them story dice.
Just let me double check I'm not forgetting anything. I do this at 50%. 50% of the normal speed. Like half the time it takes.
Yep.
And I have no setbacks,
Okay.
but I have. Okay.
You've also got the boost from my assistance as well. Don't forget.
That's right.
And I also have natural programmer, so if they mess this up, I can reroll it.
Now I assume you have to take the second one. No matter you can't it's not just a
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I will. that's a good success, but I feel like it could be better. No, I'm going to stick with it.
That would be highly advisable. So, as you go through, what I'll need both Moore and Kata to do is to come up with 2 names. However, there's something interesting there's something very interesting that you pick up on the database as you're going. You find out, doing like kind of rummaging through, you find some very interesting information on the governor that is running the Malthus, Governor Malthus, who is kind of heading up the party as you're kind of flipping through. It seems to be kind of out of place, but this information you have is going to be the subject of our tide change. Especially with that good of a roll and everything else that you kind of threw in there, because he's like 17 triumphs in the kitchen sink. So the tide change I'd like to do, and for those of you who are watching for the first time, you don't know what a tide change game is. What happens is that when I input a tide change as the GM, the 3 players or 4 players will go ahead and take the one thing that I'm going to do, or at least the prompt that I'm giving, so finding out information, and they're going to put in their own thing on what that is. Then after that, once we get all the information together, we go to the Tides of Change Role-Playing Game Club Facebook page, where you can vote. So what it does is it takes all my prep and it throws it right out the window, because that's how prep works in the Tides of Change. So it's pretty awesome. So the first person we're going to talk to is Moore. Moore, what information do you find out about Governor Malthus?
Oh boy. I'm kind of stumped. You mind coming back to me?
No problem. All right, T4.
Okay, I'm going to say that we actually find out the information that despite his mention of this function being only for loyal members of the Empire, we actually find out that the governor himself has had sort of several sort of like black marks against his record for, shall we say, like questionable decisions. Effectively, his loyalty might be less concrete than initially seems.
Okay. Kata.
Okay, so the idea I have is in the previous session, I invested quite a bit of time with this Captain Severin, establishing this false identity of Baron Varga and kind of getting in terms with him, that Governor Malthus is like Captain Severin's uncle or some kind of close relation or has close ties to him. So that may allow me to bank on my Baron Varga identity to assist us in that.
Okay. Interesting. All right. Moore.
Okay, so I think that the governor has been, yeah, let's go with this. He's been in contact with the rebellion. He has, no, that's too similar to John's. I just have nothing.
Well, I was going to say, if you want to go with yours, Lloyd, I don't mind changing mine. That's fine.
I mean,
no, let's say here's what I'll say.
Keep in mind, it can be something as subtle as, the governor really likes pod racing, or the governor, is, it's just, it could be something as small as that, or it could be something as big as, such as, for example, T4, the governor may be less loyal than it appears to be.
I was going to say, Lloyd, if you want to go with the fact that he's been in contact with the rebellion, I can always say there's like an Imperial Star Destroyer in orbit, man. It's absolutely fine.
I like the idea of the Star Destroyer in orbit, Let's take both of those. Thanks, John. So there's a Star Destroyer in orbit. It's just scary as fuck, I guess.
Okay, so
I might be biased, but like of all three, I like my idea the best because I don't like Star Destroyers. I'm just
I'm hoping for a three-way tie, man, because I think that'd be amazing.
Yeah.
He's contacted the Rebellion, and he's expecting the Baron to turn up, and there's an Imperial Star Destroyer in orbit.
okay, so let me just double check here, Lloyd. So the governor is in contact with the rebellion.
Yeah, basically, he has been in contact with the rebellion.
Okay.
And they've been looking to like get him to like sabotage some of the production lines, or like maybe put in some deliberate flaws into because he's in Sluis Van, right, which is the shipyards. So he's been in contact about like maybe putting in an exploitable flaw in some of the supply lines.
Okay, I like it. All right then. So we will be back in about 10 to 15 minutes. And what we'll do now is I'm going to post it in the Tides of Change role-playing game club. So everyone will have a chance to vote on their favorite one. And we will see who will change the story. And while I desperately try and pull story out of my butt. So until then, we will see you guys in a bit. Wish you guys are happy gaming. And I'm having fun, and I can't wait to see what happens. So we'll see you guys in a bit. everyone. So, as just wait around for a couple more minutes and for the voting to finish, I just want to again say that I did post in the live chat a a link to the Tides of Change role-playing game club. I will also put one in the description upon the finish of this game. If you are looking to become a member, I highly suggest that you get in on it, especially since Fantasy Flight Games Star Wars is a phenomenal system. It is an elegant system built before in a wonderful time when people were young and hope was plentiful. Now, well, you get the idea. It's really awesome. The role-playing dice, or at least the story dice, as you can see across my overlay, there is plenty of chances for it to have a phenomenal type of storytelling element to it, where the players and the GM can work together to create what happens. So while a D20 system like Dungeons & Dragons, Pathfinder, or any other sort of system that uses numerical dice to give results, this system is a bit more, I would say, a bit more lenient in its roles. So you're able to, you're able to kind of like figure out together what happens, and failure isn't necessarily the end-all be-all of what happens. You can fail with advantage, or you can even succeed with a threat, or at least at a cost. So it's a very fantastic way of kind of invoking that story element, where it's not just a pass-fail method. So very cool stuff. I like it, and taking that idea, you can even place it into a D20 like system. I do have a video on my channel. It's down in my channel somewhere. It's an older video, and where I talk about using this type of a thing in a D20 system. So if you guys want to check that out, you can. But we're gonna play right now, so just hold on a sec. You don't have to go check it out now. Just check it out later. Trust me. Anyway, looking at the final bits, John, did you vote for, you voted for yourself, right? Because it doesn't, for some reason, it doesn't seem to be showing up in the poll, which is kind of odd.
I mean, let me deselect it and try selecting it again, see if that works. There we go. I voted for Cada. Has it appeared yet?
Yes, there we go. Okay. As a matter of fact, much like the storytelling dice, seeing as how one wasn't overwhelmingly chosen over another, I think I know how I'm going to play this out. So, the information flashed on screen for you more is that, yes, Governor Malthus Severin is an individual who has been in his post for quite some time. However, during a secretive tribunal with the Confederated Governors Circle in the Empire, it has been noted that Governor Severin seems to be a bit less gung-ho about the direction that the Empire is taking. And although an ongoing investigation, has been digging up some very interesting information on him, it appears that a kind of general, kind of not a threat, but a general notification has been made that there's a chance that Governor Severin may or may not remain as a governor for very long. His replacement is already being looked into in case that he fails in his duties to uphold the purity of the Galactic Empire. And that is what you garner from your role and from the subsequent information.
Kata,
Yes.
what was that foppish guy called that you talked to in the officer? What was his name?
Oh, yeah, Captain Severn.
Go ahead and guess what this governor's surname is.
Kata thinks a moment and grins. Severn?
Bingo.
Ha! I'll slap my hands together. Well, I got my name then.
Perfect. I'll kind of have my fingers dancing across the various keys and stuff. I'm going to call myself Julan Stahl. It's a standard swear word name. So I'll put that in, and I'll put myself in as a let's see what the rank would be. I guess it would be like a lieutenant, but like in the tech division, you know, so like an engineer, sort of high-ranking engineer.
And what about you, Varen? What do you plan on? What is your role, or what is your rank? Sorry, Kata, what would your rank be as far as military wise?
Probably something low. Perhaps like a recent recruit, and I'm attached as like a low-level subordinate to Julian.
Okay.
Since in the conversation, when I was speaking with Severn, I was interested in the military, and he suggested it, but I hadn't, as far as he knew, I wasn't actually in it yet. So it'd be like I took him up on his advice, you know.
Okay, so then if that's the case, knowing from what you know from the military, it would be like an ensign, or at least some rank in that kind of regard. Okay, so as you're given, as you're like pictures that that have been taken of individuals, your picture, of course, more you kind of pasted on, giving yourself the rank of Lieutenant Stahl, and of course with you is your attaché, Ensign Varga, a brand new recruit into the kind of field or ship officer rank. T4, you are also kind of put into a position where your standard classification is not necessary to change. Excuse me. You are a T4 unit. Especially being an older T4 unit, you have possibly been passed down from Lieutenant Stahl's affluent family name, and given as some sort of just a personal assistant droid.
While I'm in here, I would look like, if they have that kind of information on the governor, they must have something about his interests, something like that. So I would look for something like if he donates particularly to one type of sport or something, just so I have something to small talk,
Sure. So while the planet of Sluis Van is very, the planet's surface is very thick and forested, one of the things that the governor has always enjoyed was hunting. He has a very large, extensive ground in his huge estate on this planet, kind of overlooking the workers there, and every so often he will go and hunt the various adorable woodland creatures inside his estate to kind of keep his mind off of things.
Okay, perfect. So while I'm still in here, I can make more hacking checks if you like. I would also look to see like if his family has any particular alliances, so I can make my name fit a family that he might be aware of.
The Severn family. Actually, no. You know what? What I'll do is, yes, I will ask you to make another slicing. I'll make you to make a computer's check.
Okay.
Delving into his personal information, like there are levels to each bio of individuals, so you'll need to make a deeper check into that, as it's kind of for a higher level, like Inquisitors and above, kind of a thing. Yep.
Can I give him a boost if I fill him in on some of the personal stuff that Captain Severn told me while we were talking about, like his rise in the military and some of the deeds that he did, the bragging that he did? Would that be useful at all to you?
Well, the bragging that he did do was something. It wasn't much from the first session. He basically bragged about how he was one of the youngest captains in that kind of area of the galaxy. He was given his own commission due to the affluency of his family, but he didn't go into detail. And he did say that he was again headed to Bestine 4 to captain this new type of vessel.
Okay, gotcha.
However, I mean, you can help him as far as computers wise. If you want to help him, you can help him, give him a boost die, providing your computer skill is the same or higher.
I think T4 can do that.
Yeah, T4 would be better at that time. I have some skill, but it's
Sure.
minor.
One thing I will say, though, T4, is that I'm going to consider this to be kind of like the same skill check. So to use your special ability, I would say probably not like in rapid succession to each other, but you are more than welcome to assist him in any computer's checks to give him a boost.
Yeah, I'll just assist and give a normal boost.
Okay.
Is the difficulty the same?
No, the difficulty is going to be 3 red.
Oh my.
Indeed.
Now, what did I do last time to lower the difficulty?
We also do, just remind you, do have some destiny points, I believe.
Yeah, this is another round, I assume, right?
Yeah, it would be another. This will be another single computer's check.
Okay, so then I will take another 2 strain to turn one of those reds into a purple.
All right.
And let's see. Is there anything else? No, I think that's all of it. Oh. Yeah, so I'll suffer 4 strain to reduce it twice, actually. Because I can do that once with my Cyberjack and once with Matrix Lighter. Okay, here we go. Oh my goodness. So for the people at home, that's 4 successes, 7 advantages, and a triumph.
So, you find out the Emperor's favorite food.
Right.
Jeez. I'll tell you what, then. With all of that damn ridiculousness, you tell me. You tell me about Governor Severin and his family, where he comes from, and also, as you're in there, you notice that you are able to doctor some of the data that you see there. You are now in a level where, again, Inquisitors and above are allowed to be. So you see now data that kind of has like some incriminating evidence against him, speaking with individuals who seem to be a bit more sympathetic to the alliance, retreating less and less from the more zealous imperial governors. You see that a lot of the things that is being said here, they're basically trying to build a case to depose him, but you seem to be able to change all of that.
Okay, so his family are extremely wealthy, and they run Lewis Van, or to some extent run some of the shipyards here. And they have, he has ties. At this level, it's been clear that he has had some sort of infidelity. He has had an affair, which is well documented by the Imperials. They haven't used that leverage yet, but it's here. He had a fling, and is still having an affair with a man in my family, or in this Stahl family. That man is called Karas Stahl. He is my great uncle, ostensibly, and this is known so far only to the governor and apparently the Empire, but now also me. So I'll take that down, certainly. Other than that, there's been a few incidents, like you say, where he was like speaking intensely, or people were speaking intensely to him about like, oh, we have to stamp out these people, and and he has more than once, while under the influence of being a little bit too drunk, said a few things that were a little bit too lenient. He was like, oh, but they're all people, everyone should be. Particularly, he has leanings towards like ethical treatment of aliens, of non-humans, which is not looked upon friendlily in the Empire. So he actually once made a statement about the massacres against the Wookiee people and sending Trandoshans in there, and he said, well, they're noble creatures and they have a system of honor, and that's like marked down as a quote, where I've seen Wookiees more honorable than stormtroopers, and that's like marked with red highlighter to some extent. So I'll see all this. I'll activate my neural recorder that I have, and I'll kind of like take note of all the stuff. Basically, like click it photographically into my brain. Yeah.
All right. So all of this, like with the exception, obviously, of the Stahl family, which you've just made up, the ethical treatment of aliens part is true. Like that was already on there. The affair with your great uncle that you just kind of threw in there just for extra bits. Okay.
Yeah.
So as that is being, that being said, as you do, you start seeing, it almost looks like the data, like the whole data screen starts to like go like a little bit fuzzy, and it gets a little bit more fuzzy and more fuzzy, and it starts to kind of like wink out, and the whole screen turns into snow, and you see kind of an imperial, like an imperial symbol in red, and it just says access denied. But you were able to put the extra bits in and also look into everything that you said. So you have all the information that you need.
Okay.
Major Rain looks at you and says, I guess that's all we're getting. All right.
Good enough, sir.
Kata, Moore, come with me to our prop shop. We'll get you some uniforms to wear, so you at least look the part. T4, you head down to droid maintenance. We'll get you in a nice looking carapace, more befitting to your role.
Understood.
All right. So as you guys get into your uniforms, you are, excuse me. Now, were you going to be Navy or Army?
Me?
Yeah.
I think it'll probably be Navy because it's like it's a technician sort of role, like an engineer role,
Yeah, so you get into this kind of very white, this shock white uniform. Your lieutenant, I keep wanting to say lieutenant, insignia, kind of like on your right chest. They do decide to like kind of fluff things up just a little bit, and they throw a couple of medals on your left over your heart. Just a like kind of naval proficiency and a bravery medal also pinned to your side. They give you, Kata, your also they give you a uniform. However, it's black. It kind of like gets your like kind of lower status. You're not quite the kind of blank open spaces on your right breast pocket and nothing on your left. You're both given caps to fit, and you're led down to a shuttle, an Imperial shuttle, with all of the proper markings and everything else. The pilot of the shuttle is standing there, and you're being led. T4, you of course a very shiny black. Actually, no. You tell me. Is it black? Is it dark gray? What do you look like now?
I've gone for the sort of standard sort of like K2 style droid sort of carapace, where it's sort of like a gunmetal gray, effectively. Okay.
You do understand now, though. You have to talk like Alan Tudyk now for like the rest of the session, right? It's just so we're.
Hey man, as long as I don't have to get stabbed through the chest at the end of it, it's all good, man.
We'll find out, shall we? So, as you're brought down, Major Rain is standing there, and he looks at the three of you. He looks at the three of you, and says, "All right, this pilot will lead you there. If you run into trouble, well, unfortunately, you're on your own for the most part. Try and get to the shuttle as quickly as you can. You can link up with the pilot and figure it out from there."
Understood.
Hoorah.
And I presume we'll head off.
The pilot kind of greets the three of you. She is a human woman, youngish, probably about, seems to be like, on the shy side of 24, 25. She looks and says, "All right, well, come on in. There's some extra weapons, extra ammunition inside. I really doubt you'll be able to wear very much, seeing as how you'll be in uniform, but, well, we'll see what happens, and let's try and get through this without dying." And she kind of goes in. I'm Lieutenant Talia. You three ready to do this?
Hello, Lieutenant Talia.
Yes.
Great. Well, let's hope we don't die. Any of you astrogators?
I can be.
Oh, well then. You can zip beside me.
I'm also proficient if it becomes necessary.
Well then, I've never seen a whole lot of individuals who are so excited to be astrogators. I don't care which one of you does it. Just one of you come on in and help navigate.
I'll just turn around and look at Maul to basically see if he wants to do it or whether he wants me to do it.
Yeah, I'm easy. I've got 2 yellows for astrogating.
In which case, you're sounding quite excited about it, so I'll just sort of nod and
Yeah.
with one of my long arms, I'll just gesture towards the front of the ship, and I'll go and sort of sit myself down in the passenger compartment.
He can't resist a challenge more, which is really a problem. He wants to do it all himself. What's the difficulty here?
The difficulty would be 3 purple.
As the discussion begins as to who's going to perform that astrogation duties, Kata's already gone, going to look over what toys they have as far as weapons and equipment.
Your role has been noted, more. As far as weapons, you see a few what looks to be like hold-out blaster pistols. These are pistols that are able to be concealed. So there's 4 of them. You see a couple of extra battery packs, a couple of medical like some stim packs, a couple of those, just a few little odds and sods that you might need, but nothing that can be obvious to someone walking in. As is, you're going to a party and not a war zone. You're not going to have a lot in the way of weaponry. You also see what looks to be an emergency droid repair kit, just in case something happens to T4, and you see also what looks to be small communication devices that will allow the 3 of you to communicate to each other.
Excellent.
Now, Moore has his normal weapon is a dueling pistol. I think. Let me just check. I think that's right.
I believe it is.
Yes. So would that be okay to carry openly? Because it's like it's like a high society weapon. I don't know if it would be weird to wear, because if it is, I would leave it.
Well, what I would say is if you can roll it out, like ROLE, role play it out, then
Sure.
we'll see what happens from there. You don't know. You've never been to an Imperial party before for like highfalutin society and whatnot.
Yeah.
So that being said, it depends entirely on what is going on. So yeah, exactly. Wing it. I mean, what's the worst that could happen? Am I right?
Right.
It's all right, Lloyd. I'm all about that blaster carbine life.
So yeah, I'll take one of the blasters, the stim packs, and the droid repair kit, and then I'll go join Trigani, and I'll start looking him over and eyeing him quite openly as I'm looking for places to maybe stash a grenade or 2.
Yeah, I'll be sat there and I'll be sort of like moving my arms around and sort of like tilting my head around, obviously adjusting to the sort of like new carapace to effectively like crammed my sort of interior workings into.
So if I see an opening while he's doing that, I'll try to squeeze one in real quick.
Just shove a grenade in there. It's like, yeah, you'll be fine. You'll be fine. Just
Trust me, don't worry about it.
Yeah, don't worry. This thermal detonator will not explode in you, hopefully.
You are aware, of course, that I do have several internal compartments where I could store that. There's no need for you to try to fix it to the bottom of my ribcage.
Well, I suppose since you like taking the fun out of everything, and I'll just handle a couple over.
Thank you. It's not a matter of fun, it's a matter of efficiency.
It's a good thing you didn't have like an exhaust port that you'd try and shove a grenade inside. I mean, geez, that would feel.
No, unless he buys me dinner first.
Touche. So, with that astrogation check, you do manage to get to Sluis Van without too much of an issue, with one small exception, which we will get to later. So as you make it to Sluis Van, you are actually greeted in the system by a pair of TIE interceptors. As the ship drops out of hyperspace, the two TIE interceptors kind of come around your Lambda class shuttle. You hear a like kind of a crackling audio over comms. It's just follow me. and it begins to. They both begin to kind of fly in escort formation. The pilot, looking at the three of you, she kind of, well, let's do this, and she begins to kind of fly casual toward the planet.
Don't worry, Talia. We got this. And I'll like pat her on the shoulder.
Yeah. Well, I have someone to fly home to, and I would like to fly home to her. So, if it's all the same to you, let's try and get home in one piece safely.
If it makes you feel any better, I would like to fly out of here as well. I don't intend to remain here.
Yeah,
At which point, I'm going to turn to Caden in a sort of a more quiet voice than I would do normally. I'm just going to say,
Is there any particular reason that our pilot keeps stating the obvious?
Would you see that just loud enough for Talia to hear? Or
yeah, of course.
Well, sometimes I state the obvious because it makes me feel better. Not that you would know, seeing as how you are a droid, and whatever. Just come on.
We're going to make it, Talia. Don't worry about it. We're going to be fine. We are always fine. I've never failed a mission yet.
Oh yeah. And she fly as you fly in, you see this massive estate. Like, it must rise at least 7 or 8 stories tall, huge, and it's even on the side of a cliff. So it seems like it's built almost out of this kind of like large fjord itself. The extensive forest behind it, thick, almost like a green carpet. Even though it is probably in the mid to early evening, I would have to say. As you fly in, you come to this like really kind of very expansive landing pad. There are already several other shuttles around. You see a few Imperial pilots hanging around, some talking to each other. And as Talia kind of comes around and actually makes makes a fairly decent landing. You can tell she's a little nervous, but she still makes a decent landing. Wings folded up, and she opens up the back. Okay, this part is you. If things go awry, the communicators that you have, switch the frequency to 0401. And just contact me, and I'll be here, and I won't be talking to them, so not to worry.
If things get really, really bad and we don't think we're going to make it out alive, we'll tell you get out of here. You can get home to your partner, right? We'll be fine, Talia. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, good idea. Great idea. Okay. And it's easy for you to say. Okay, I got this. You go enjoy yourselves, I think. And she kind of like grabs what looks to be a data pad that kind of has a bit of looks to be like a novel, and she just starts reading.
I suggest we leave the vessel and make our way to this social function.
Yeah, I'll be sure to walk out last because I think that's how it would be, right? As I'm ostensibly the most important, I'll have like the droid and the ensign go out, and then I'll come out after.
Okay, that works. So as you go in, you kind of see a droid, another droid that is standing there, a protocol droid, and it is in jet. The colors in jet black. Standing there. Good day. I am C4N3. Welcome to Governor Malthus Severin's estate. Your invitations, please. And don't worry, I'm going to assume, obviously you guys are giving it to him. As you give it to him, he kind of scans it down. Welcome, Lieutenant, always with Lieutenant. Welcome, Lieutenant Stahl. Welcome, Ensign Varga. And it takes one step kind of back and to the right, and kind of like holds out a hand to these large, like kind of open double doors. You see inside, large, like a fairly large group of individuals, kind of all talking to each other, a few laughing and drinking either wine or what would be some kind of a champagne. They're all talking to each other.
Okay,
so yep.
So sort of very loud, well, not very loud, I'm not shouting, but loudly so that anyone nearby can hear, just to like play the part and reinforce the role. I'm going to turn to Lieutenant Stahl and say,
"What are your orders, sir?"
Just stay with my side. Follow me. Keep your eyes out for any,
Understood.
And I'll follow along sort of beside you, but I'll be sort of like looking around, sort of as though I'm like scanning the area for any potential threats.
You can never be too careful. I'll make a point of having a pretty disgusted face on my time at all times until I meet someone who's worthy of me.
All right, then. As you enter into this, what looks to be like a very large, it seems to be kind of a cross between like an expansive foyer mixed with a lounge. There are like plenty of couches kind of like all around in kind of a, I guess in kind of like a horseshoe shaped pattern. You also see like a massive, if you know anything about architecture, a massive kind of Georgian style stairwell. So basically like, the stairwell that kind of splits in half and goes up and into like this very large, huge, massive bay windows that kind of show the sunset, the sun going down over Sluis Van, and the massive expanse of huge, thick trees. Like some so thick that you could probably hide an X-wing inside. Like that's how big these massive old trees are. And this is all expansive back. Stone and plasteel and other building materials kind of give this kind of classic neo, almost Greek-like architecture with these Doric columns going throughout. The whole thing is ostentatious and but beautiful, and is mixed with this gorgeous, like kind of like modern style in a sense. So it's like the two different styles are competing and complementing each other. It's absolutely stunning, and you can only imagine that it must have taken, several probably very cheaply or not paid at all workers a very long time or a very quick time, depending on how strict they were, to build this sort of expansive mansion, this huge edifice. You see quite a few groups of individuals speaking with each other, many in white uniforms, a few in black, and some in yellow, kind of like a yellowish uniform that you're not really certain of. You even see one individual with a dark robe, kind of like arms folded over and looking very serious, speaking to another slightly, even though the general age of the individuals in this room seem to be a bit older. There's a few younger people, but for the most part, they all seem to be a bit advanced in age. You see one individual, and you have seen Malthus Severin's picture on his profile. You actually do end up noticing him kind of in the far area, talking and laughing with a few other governors. However, the one that kind of catches your eye is this cloaked, hooded individual who's again standing very seriously with their arms crossed, speaking to another slightly younger individual in another yellow uniform. That is essentially what you see, and of course, lots of droids and humans kind of walking around carrying serving dishes and whatnot have you.
So I guess I'll walk in, and I'm kind of wondering if I'll be announced, or what the protocol is. So I'll wait for just like a couple of seconds, and if no one does announce me, I'll just walk in.
Yeah, there's no one standing there to kind of announce your presence. People just kind of walk in. You get the feeling that it's kind of like one of those, it's an old boys club. A lot of the older fellas are just like, Tom, Jerry, like, and everyone's kind of just chatting away. But the younger officers seem to be trying to inject themselves into conversations to kind of get themselves known. It's all very political and very, old school.
So then my goal would be to move to a group near the governor, but not his group, of like if there's young officers around there, and then basically begin talking loudly about my hunting exploits.
I'll be trying to add to the sort of idea that obviously he's someone of great importance since he's got this Imperial security droid like as his personal bodyguard. So I'll be sort of like being quite unsubtle about sort of the way I guard him, sort of like very loudly, like clanking around next to him so that he gets more noticed, and people will obviously see that he's got an Imperial security droid as like his personal escort.
All right. And how about you, Varga, Ensign Varga? What are you going to be doing?
First of all, just for foreknowledge, in case something happens and I can pick my load out without any inkling of what we may run into, how many grenades would I be able to stash? I wouldn't like be looking to stash, more than probably one or two if I could do that.
You can probably stash 2 grenades.
Okay.
In T4 without just being a little bit too much.
Okay, so just to let you know, one will be one of my glop grenades.
One of your which grenades, sorry?
Glop. It's the one that does this unbreakable foam that lasts for like 5 minutes that covers an area, because that can be used in many ways, and in case things go really bad, it'll be one of my detonite charges, which does a big boom. That would be like, okay, well, we got to take, everybody down with this kind of situation. And then as far as that goes, I'll be moving along attentively with Lieutenant Stahl. When he begins speaking, I'll give a dutiful appearance of one that's just in awe of his exploits and engaging in his conversation.
Okay. So as you walk in, and as you guys are kind of scanning the room, you do see off to your side, like one individual kind of comes up. He's really drunk. Oh, terribly sorry there. And he kind of looks like almost puts his head like right in your chest. Lieutenant, yes. And he's wearing a yellow uniform. And what ship did you serve on then?
Well, he'll kind of like smile, and he'll like look down at his badge and look back up, and he'll say, "It was the Indifference that I served on."
The Indifference. Strange. I've never heard of it.
We were out in the sticks. I picked up some strange customs there, a couple of strange habits, but nonetheless, proved myself enough to get ranked up.
So I apologize for reminding you, but you did ask me to remind you, should you forget that much of your work for the glory of the Empire is classified.
Well, yes, of course.
Yes, indeed. You're not really supposed to mention the ship. It is, of course, one of the newer models from the, where is it? The Senior Fleet Systems Company. So perhaps.
In fact, we've probably said too much already.
Yes. My apologies, and I'll give a bow to the yellow uniformed officer and Lieutenant Stahl as well.
Well, I would hate to cause any difficulty. Well then, shall leave you to your business. And he seems to walk away a bit, kind of frazzled a bit. And he kind of stumbles towards another group of yellow uniformed officers.
What do we know about yellow uniforms?
All right, tell you what, make me... Make me an education check. I think would probably be the best.
Is there any possibility we can use warfare?
Yes, actually. I will... Well,
Sorry, I don't know what the uniforms are for, so I don't know whether it's applicable.
So
or not.
the warfare would generally be knowledge of past battles and strategies. I wouldn't necessarily... You know what? Actually, you know what? Yes, I will allow it. Yes, and I like that. So yes, you can definitely use a warfare. Definitely use a warfare check. It'll be a difficulty of 2, if you so desire.
Maybe.
You do know that it is, with that roll, you do know that it is an imperial rank. But it is certainly, you do know that it is higher than an admiral, but you're not 100% sure as to what that rank is off the top of your head.
Higher than an admiral?
Yepers.
Oh my goodness.
Indeed.
I'll kind of look around the room and see where the governor is standing. Are there any groups of people talking near him?
Yes, there are.
Are any of them like junior officers of that kind?
You see some individuals in yellow uniforms. You see some individuals in white uniforms. You see 2 individuals wearing the black ensign uniform, and they're talking. Now it's interesting because the way it looks like, the individuals in the yellow uniforms are speaking with the governor. The governor is also wearing a yellow uniform. He is standing there speaking with these other individuals wearing yellow. And I think at that point, I think it's safe to say that, other governors, because I'm sure you can piece 2 and 2 together. The individuals wearing white are kind of like, you notice that the way they're standing, like body language wise, they're standing a little bit further away from the conversation. So when the individuals in yellow speak, they're speaking and they're talking in a manner that's very friendly, like very kind of even keel. The ones in white, even ones that are captains, like you've seen captain rank, you've seen admiral rank. They're actually standing with their arms folded in front of them, not saying anything until the individuals in yellow stop speaking. The ones in black are actually standing about 2 paces away from the ones in white, not speaking and just listening and looking straight ahead, kind of in a very like, I am listening to every little thing that individuals are saying. You can definitely tell that kind of like level of laser focus on what they're saying.
So as I see Lieutenant Stahl making this calm, strategic, calculated assessment of the situation, I kind of lean over and say, follow my lead, and start walking right up to the governor.
Oh, Jesus. I'm going to look at him, but I'm going to follow. But I'm going to have like an angry expression on my face as I do so.
So sorry, you're headed towards where? You're headed towards the governor?
Yeah, basically, as he's like, I see him making this, calculated strategic assessment of the situation and looking the people over and trying to gauge the best approach. I just kind of lean over and say, follow my lead, and without waiting for any kind of indication that he even hears me or agrees, I just begin walking straight towards the governor.
Okay. Give me 1 second, though. I gotta make one roll for, okay. This would be R.
This is where the ninja bodyguards jump out and cut me in half.
Okay. As you make your way directly towards the governor, like, now, are you walking with purpose? Like, are you just like,
yes, with obvious,
sounds good.
Giving the body language of that, I'm obvious in purpose and give my intent, well before. I'm not trying to be subtle in any kind of way. In fact, I'm trying to be the opposite.
Sounds good. As you make your way right towards the governor, T4, you notice that the individual that is cloaked, this individual that's kind of standing there very cloaked with his arms crossed, suddenly like holds up their hand to the individual speaking to him and kind of raises up their head and looks directly in your direction. From the face, you can tell that this individual is a chiss. And just like stops the individual and just stares directly at the three of you, mostly at Varga walking towards the governor.
Okay, so in a very sort of like low voice, sort of quiet enough so that it'd be difficult to hear above the sort of whirring of me moving, but transmitted through my comm link so that the other guys can hear it. I'm just going to say,
we are being observed. There is a robed member of the Chiss species watching us intently. Be advised.
I kind of give a slight nod, but my appearance and movement do not change as I continue forward.
Okay.
Okay, I got to go with him.
Fair enough. So as you guys get even nearer to the governor, you notice without any sort of like stealth or nonchalance, T4, you see the Chiss beginning to walk in your direction fairly rapidly.
okay, I'm going to follow along behind sort of the other two, but as I go, I'm going to sort of like turn my head to like quite obviously to sort of like track the Chiss's movements, just to let him know that he has been seen.
Okay.
And I will. Sorry.
No, it's fine. I was just going to say that obviously I'm not going to make any sort of like threatening moves or anything since we're playing the part of Imperials. He's here. He's obviously a servant of the Empire. So I'm just going to be looking like I'm a normal Imperial security droid doing his job, like checking out anyone who's getting a little bit too close to the person I've been assigned to guard.
Okay.
And I purposely, and even if I like catch the movement out of my eyes, avoid looking to have my gaze locked on the governor as I'm trying to kind of exude a young, boyish excitement, and perhaps even quicken my pace a little bit as I get closer.
As you seem to almost be within like touching distance. You see the large group around Governor Severin. You know, it's like some of the individuals in white are laughing, which appears to be at some kind of a joke. As you get almost within like touching distance, you can almost reach out and touch Governor Severin. This robed individual suddenly stands in front of you. You can see under his cloak, his red eyes, just like the red just seems to focus in narrowly, laser beaming into you, Varga.
What is his height compared to mine? Is he taller?
He is taller than you.
Okay,
He's probably a good 6 or 7 inches taller than you.
Okay, so the way I'm going to play it is like I said, I was kind of looking at him in the corner of my eye, even though I wasn't paying attention. And when he steps in front of me, I'm going to keep my gaze level to his chest and like basically walk into him and kind of bounce back. Oh, sorry, my good man, and give him a pat on the arm and try to step around him, acting like, you know, we accidentally bumped into each other.
He moves one step to again block your path, and in a very low, very serious voice, just loud enough that the others can hear, he says, "Can I help you? What are you doing here?"
Yeah, sure. I need a drink, I guess, but I just need to talk to the governor. Governor Malphus. Yeah, I'm sure he'll want to talk to me, and I'll kind of yell the name a little louder this time, as I'm obviously like dwarfed and blocked from this thing, but maybe he can see like a errant hand coming around the thing as I'm trying to gesture to get his attention.
Okay, now that being said, just give me 1 second. Moore and T4, what are you guys doing at this very moment in time?
Besides staring daggers into the back of my head.
Yeah, probably that.
I'm remaining stood next to Moore. There's been no actual sort of like violence yet, so I'm just like observing the situation.
Okay.
I am moving, I guess, after, like deliberately moving slowly. I'm looking like I want to catch him, but I'm not actually trying to catch him, if you know what I mean. I want to see what he's going to do, but I want to look as if I'm furious at his ridiculousness in this situation. And I'm like looking fuming.
So sorry, you're looking at the Chiss, or are you looking at Varga?
At my ensign, yeah.
Okay.
At Varga.
T4, are you looking at the Chiss, or are you like kind of like getting a kind of sizing him up, or are you looking right at Varga, or looking straight ahead?
I'm sort of looking at trying to take in both of the two of them, in case the scene does devolve into anything. So looking like I'm basically in a sort of like threat assessment mode.
Okay. For you, make me a perception check. It'll be a difficulty of 3 purple.
Advantage.
Okay. You see an object. You don't like. It takes your data banks a little bit to process it, but you do see an object. It appears to be, what looks to be a tube, like some sort of a tube, about, I'd say about 6 or 7 inches long. It appears to be attached to a belt on his side. It looks to have some type of teeth that biologically you recognize as possibly a crate dragon. The teeth are kind of like in a kind of six tooth pattern to the center, leaving what looks to be a 2-inch diameter opening or hole that leads into a 2-inch diameter opening just in the tube itself. The weapon or whatever it is seems to be hooked to his belt, allowing for easy pulling out, like just easy grabbing. You don't think it's a mace or anything, or it doesn't seem to be like a truncheon, but it does seem to be kind of an odd object.
I was going to say, given that I'm a sort of separatist, a separatist tactical droid who sort of was involved with the Clone Wars, do I have any idea what this object is?
Yeah, I think you gotta know what it is. You gotta know. You know.
Yeah, I thought I might do. I just wanted to check, so I wasn't taking the mic.
You know.
Okay, so I'm going to sort of, again in this very. I'm just going to sort of like, I don't want to say anything because obviously I know that people who tend to be armed with those things tend to be very perceptive. That's why there was such a great threat during the Clone Wars. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to effectively step forward, put my hand on the young ensign's shoulders, and I'm going to sort of like squeeze his shoulder slightly, and then just say in a very sort of plain, sort of robotic
voice, I believe you should leave the governor alone now. I'm sure he is a very busy individual.
I'll frown at that and again cast my voice loud and say, but I just want to talk to him. I know his nephew, Captain Severn. He said I should look him up. Governor Malthus, but I won't make any
I'm sure if the
more
governor
forward.
wishes to talk to you, he can do so. I believe now we should leave.
As soon as you mention Severn, you see the governor's head kind of stop mid-sentence and kind of turn and, oh, yes, somebody mentioned my name. Oh, who we? Valus, please, let me speak to this individual. Did you say Captain Severn?
Yes, Captain Severn.
Oh, my nephew. Oh, good lad. Very good lad. Did you serve with him, young man?
No, not exactly, but he's the reason that I joined the military. We had a great conversation, spent some time together, and he gave me some advice. And
oh, wonderful. You know, Severns, we do give good advice on things. You know, it's difficult to see people who actually listen to us. You know, that really.
At this point, I'm going to storm up behind the ensign, and I'm going to look at him, give him this look, and I will say, Governor, I'm so sorry for this interruption. I'm so sorry. I will see that he's properly disciplined. I apologize.
No. It's fine. The impetuousness of youth. I mean, you're a young man yourself, but I fully understand. And he kind of holds up his hand and kind of waves the others kind of off. So, I don't believe I know you. I know most individuals here. I mean, don't get you wrong, but I don't believe I know you, Lieutenant.
Sir, Lieutenant Stahl, sir.
Yes. No, please, not here, not here. After all, you have a medal of bravery. Clearly, you have some. You've done some great things. Should be honoring you. So, what ship have you served on, young man?
It's a delicate matter. I'm not quite at liberty to say, my lord.
Oh, yes, well, it's quite all right. Excuse me. And you see an individual who is not dressed in uniform like the others, seems to be dressed in a very kind of fine suit, kind of holds up his hand and he speaks to one of speaks to them in a very he speaks to them in a very low voice. You can't even hear it because it's basically kind of one of those you're whispering to someone in a massive crowd of drunken people who are speaking a lot. If you want, you can roll a 4 red perception check if you really wanted to, but he kind of nods his head and, oh yes, Representative, I'll speak to you in a moment. I just need to speak to him. This is Representative Vors from the Sinar Corporation. Actually, wait. Come. And he kind of brings Vors into the kind of conversation. Representative Vors, you were mentioning to me about some type of a new type of fighter craft that Sinar was developing. Was that right? And you see Vors kind of looking very kind of nervous, are you sure that? No, it's quite all right. Well, yes, we are developing a new type of fighter craft for the Empire. It is a strategic and powerful craft that will most certainly be a great boon to the Empire in its fight against the rebellion.
Oh, really? I'll say with enthusiasm. And I'll say, well, that's the one thing that they've always kind of beaten us at, isn't it? They've always had those damn shields and it's always been such a problem. And I'll just kind of ramble like that for a bit. It's about time we finally made something like this. Hey, what?
Well, yes, yes. We are developing, thankfully, with the help of the shipyards on Sluis Van. We are almost in the ability. We just actually left a, and you can tell he's nervous. He's just really, really nervous, kind of speaking to you about this. Yes, we have developed a brand new facility on Koyalag. And you see, we are going to develop our very first, well, the prototype is there, but we are going to be developing the ships there, along with a large fleet, and hopefully with a new Interdictor-style cruiser. It's very exciting things, and we hope that...
Yes. These are the cruisers that, yes, Severin had told me about them. With the, it's a little bit beyond my... they pull ships from hyperspace, eh?
Oh, yes, indeed.
Stroke of genius.
Oh, I am very, very proud that we are able to finally have an edge over the rebellion in this regard. The fact that they had stolen the plans for the so-called X-Wing to begin with was very much a damnable thing. But if you'll excuse me, I need to speak to Governor Valaris. If you'll pardon me.
Absolutely. Have a nice evening.
And he kind of nods his head and kind of walks out. The Chiss comes back and kind of whispers something to Malthus, and he's like, "Oh, yeah, sorry, I need to go. If you'll excuse me." And
could we catch up later, Governor? I know that you're a keen hunter, and I would love to discuss some of the things you've been doing. I'm a bit of an enthusiast myself.
Really? Oh, yes, I would love to. As a matter of fact, there's quite a few individuals who've expressed their enjoyment of hunting. And actually, what I'm going to do at this point, I'm actually just going to ask you guys to hold on for just a moment. So if you guys want to talk amongst yourselves, formulate a plan or something, I'm going to be right back in like a minute and a half. Sorry, guys, but
good,
cheers.
My favorite thing is talking to Mike's rich fools. He does them so well, I think.
Yeah, that's true, man. The slightly eccentric, sort of like rambling, like tops.
Yeah. Very quiet.
A bit of hunting, though, boy. Yeah, you're just doing very well.
What was that place called? Did he say Kuyalag? Is that what it was called?
Yeah, something like that. Kuliag or Guliag.
Quaylag, yeah.
Quaylag.
That reminds me of, if you've ever seen Wayne's World, where they, like, that guy was just very forthcoming with information, that guy just makes you think of the guy at the back of Wayne's World where he's like, he knows exactly where Alice Cooper is going,
Yeah.
Very specific.
To be honest, man, I'm not saying that like a robed Chiss, like with a lightsaber on his belt, is like worrying or anything, but
I'm terrified.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, I knew it was going to go either really good or really bad, and it was just, that's how Katie would be, he's...
That's it. I was like, I've got to try and direct you away, because I'm like, if he draws that lightsaber out, it's going to go really bad for us, really
Well,
quickly.
but that's the thing. I didn't even see it, so he didn't even know the level of threat. He's just like, oh, I've got this handled, because he's used to being able to basically, talk circles and sneak around people, like right in the front of their faces. He's just like, I got this, and
Yeah, I mean, like I say, in terms of like what T4's thinking, because obviously he was like a tactical droid during like the Clone Wars. He's basically like, oh well, the Jedi, who are, as far as I'm concerned, the people who own like lightsabers, were the ones who were like, oh, if there's like 4 of them, they're probably going to take down most of your army of battle droids. So it's like, time to be going now.
Pretty much the worst possible threat.
Just don't ever tell Kata, because he probably like end up like vomiting and when he realizes what he was actually facing.
All right. Again, sorry about that. Okay. So as you see the Chiss kind of leading the governor away, you are faced standing by yourselves. What would you guys like to do?
That Chiss didn't bring me my drink, I'll say as I'm kind of looking around.
I'm going to berate my ensign, just as a show. I'm going to be like pointing a finger like right in his face while I'm having a casual conversation with him, but I'm going to look like I'm giving him all sorts of shit.
Yeah, and I'll look as best I can to approximate the reaction of, a chastised young officer that obviously made some kind of huge error in judgment.
And I'll be saying to him, we need to get the governor somewhere quiet so that we can basically inform him what we know, and that he needs to be helping us.
Once I'm sure we're not sort of like being listened to, I'm going to turn to the others, and obviously, sort of as far as I'm concerned, guy with a lightsaber equals Jedi equals massive threat. So I'm going to turn to the others. I'm going to say,
I believe we should attempt to contact base and request further orders. The threat level of this mission has just escalated rapidly.
There's like a little bit of a note of like panic in his voice, which is quite sort of out of character for him.
Varga is doing a lot of like bowing and looking apologetic. He'll say, without the smile that he feels, no worries, we got this handled, T4. I've got him wrapped around my finger.
If my threat assessment is correct, the robed figure would be capable of dispatching all of us with minimal effort.
I agree. We need to be careful. I'm still kind of like shaking my finger. Need to be careful, but nonetheless, I'm wary of sending a comm to the ship. I feel it's possible that comms are being monitored here. It wouldn't be worth the risk in my mind.
I did not factor a Jedi into my strategic assessment of this mission's threat rating.
Well, and he'll kind of like it won't even register. You said Jedi, he'll say, well, we'll just have to not pick any fights. Like, it's just as simple as that, like it's our choice.
Yeah.
So as you guys are talking, as you guys finish your conversation, the Chiss individual comes walking back up to you. The governor wishes to see you outside in the back. He says that you're, and he looks at you, Julian. He says that you are an avid hunter. And he looks you up and down in such a way that's like, really? You?
Totally believable.
Well, he wishes to kill something with you. If you
What
would,
an honor.
It is indeed. If you would follow me. And he it looks like he's straining. He's trying his best to say this without like being physically nauseous, but please. And he starts to walk away from you.
Do I know? No, I wouldn't. I'm not in the Empire, so I wouldn't know. I'll follow him.
Okay.
I'll follow after Maul.
Yeah, if he didn't specifically say we weren't invited, I will follow in step right behind my lieutenant.
All right.
Like, is this not a huge shock, probably to more? Like, he's probably never seen a Jedi, right? Ever.
Probably not. I mean, you've heard of them in stories, and like what they used to do way back in the day, but you've never seen an actual Jedi or like you've never even heard of like fallen Jedi or Sith. Like I mean, at least as far as like if you're heavy into history, if your character's heavy into history, then maybe I can make you. I would get you to make a history roll, but
I'm just trying to I think that more is like kind of like Kata, just like not processing it because it doesn't make any sense. Like all the Jedi are dead.
Yeah. For Kata's part, it's like his mind protecting itself with selective amnesia. It's like he just heard blah blah. Kind of. He's just
be careful. There's a
wah wah. Yeah, thankfully oblivious.
I'm just stood next to him like what.
It's like an adult in a Charlie Brown cartoon.
Yeah. Kate is just mentally like how he can turn the situation to his advantage, and is like totally oblivious. How we got it, and he does not even realize the threat that's right in front of him as he's following.
Precisely. So as you guys walk outside, you see what looks to be like you walk out onto kind of like a very large terrace, but the terrace again has what looks to be two Georgian style staircases that kind of go down either length of the terrace down to kind of like a small landing and then down into the this like kind of like wooded area of Governor Severin's manor estate, so to speak. As you go down there, the Chiss says to you, "Wait right here," and he walks back up. You see that the two staircases are kind of like a nice kind of plasteel staircases that kind of like have this beautiful kind of curving effect, and then go down to kind of the opening. Before you stretches very like kind of again thick wooded sort of area. The trees here are not quite as thick as outside. They're not quite as old, but yet they are still incredibly tall. These trees you would think of as again, if you would know, kind of California redwoods, and these are the thinner trees. There are trees again that are extremely thick just outside of the manor estate that you're not sure of how old, but I mean, if we were to like kind of put it into perspective, they would probably be about 5,000, 6,000, 7,000 years old, at least as far as if you were to cut the ring, count the rings. You don't see Governor Severin around at the moment, but right now you are standing kind of in this kind of wooded area.
Are there other because you said there were other avid hunters, is there anyone else out here or just us?
Just you.
Okay, I'm beginning to be extremely nervous.
The rogue figure with us, or did he go off somewhere?
He went back up the stairs.
Okay.
So even though I'm very nervous of us being summarily executed out here, I've been told that I'm going hunting, so I'll take this dueling pistol that I have, and I'll have a look. I'll be inspecting it, kind of like making sure. Like I'm not a bad shot, so I'll be inspecting it and making sure that it all works, and is like lined up nicely and stuff like that. So if anyone comes, that's what they'll see me doing.
Nice. So as you're inspecting the weapon, you kind of see movement in front of you, and it seems to be kind of a person, kind of a human shaped, but it's something on the ground. It's kind of writhing around and moving. Seems to be like you kind of hear this kind of a noise. It seems to be like a moaning or something. You can't quite tell. Something on the ground. Yeah, moving on the ground. Yeah, kind of human shaped, but you can't quite see because again, it's the brush is a little bit thick, but that's what you can kind of make out.
Yeah. So as we're standing there alone, and kind of the situation is kind of causing the hairs to rise on the back of Kata's neck as he's looking around and seeing no one out here. And when that kind of gets our attention, he'll absently tap the back of his hand on T4 and say, "Hey, buddy, why don't you go check that out?"
Very well.
And I'll start heading towards the sound.
Sure. It's about 20 feet away, the shape. You don't really, it doesn't take you long to get there. Now, as you go out, I'm assuming the two of you are still kind of back, just in case. Bunch of wussies.
Yeah.
So
Kata will take a few tentative steps forward and kind of lean, like he's very interested and curious, but yeah, he's not wanting to get too close till he knows the coast is clear.
Sure. As you make your way up to this thing, T4, you see who it is. You see the kind of black leather boots, the distinctive yellow uniform, and as you kind of look down, you see that it is Governor Severin. With that, you hear for all three of you actually, you hear the stairs. You hear this grating sound as the stairs kind of rise up. The whole thing rises up in the air. Effectively, your avenue of escape cut off. Suddenly, all of these floodlights start popping out, and you can see now on the balcony all of the guests standing there and kind of looking down at you. You hear the Chiss is standing by the individual that he was speaking to before, this kind of slightly younger individual in a yellow uniform.
Well, Governor Severin, I am sorry to say that your reign as governor of the Sluis Van sector has been ended. Your sympathy with alien scum and possibly rebellious natured individuals has caused you to be,
and he kind of pauses for effect,
removed. I am to take your place as quickly as possible. I can think of no better way than to allow you to go as you enjoy living, through a hunt.
And as he says that, it is punctuated. You hear this, and then you start hearing this sound coming from kind of your left, but kind of northwest. But then you hear another set of sounds, and that's coming directly from your north. And then you hear the exact same sound coming from the northeast. And that is where we're going to end tonight's session.
Fuck.
Nice.
Y'all going to be hunted, sons.
That was great.
Oh, you guys had to do some hunting, didn't you?
You had to poke the bear, didn't you? You done poke the bear now.
I was about ready to be like, what about the affair? And then I was going to execute the governor, but hey.
To be fair, I had a horrible thought that when Mike said, "Oh, you hear a sound behind you," the sound was going to be.
That's what I thought too. Yeah, we're dead.
Yeah, you know what? I mean, I wasn't going to go that route just yet. But
it's never a good sign when hearing three walkers or whatever they are approaching is the best option.
Man,
I think so. As a matter of fact, to be perfectly honest, I think you're better off against three walkers than you are against one fallen Jedi who also is a Chiss, because those guys are dicks. I mean, seriously, they're a
I would-
whole
I
race
would
of
take on-
assholes.
Take on the walkers any day, as opposed
like,
to Wind Jedi.
Dodge that bullet.
It's amazing
All right.
how frightening Force users are when you're not one. They're just so frightening.
Oh, big time.
Superheroes, you know.
Oh yeah, huge. It's like, by the way, I've got telepathy, telekinesis. Oh, and I've got a sword that cuts through everything, including your sword.
Oh, I've got basic like force push. Oh, you were next to me. You're now over there.
Yeah.
Deal with that.
Remember how you were running away? Force pull, and now you're back.
Varric could be like, okay, now I get to kill him and take his lightsaber.
Jeez.
But unfortunately, I'm on Varga, not Varric.
That's true. And actually, right now, at this point, if you wanted to mirror it to the Heart of the Empire campaign, at this point, you guys are just getting to Bestine. If you wanted to think of a timeline
Right.
between the Heart of the Empire and this mini campaign.
Now,
So
was it our little intel, my little spill in the beans, what instigated our mission to Bestine when I told them, or was that already in play?
maybe. No, actually, that's what helped.
Okay.
So it's kind of one of those hey, how did they know? How did they know about this this cruiser and stuff? And that's how they knew.
See, it's good to know, Dennis, that even if these characters die here, somewhere other versions of ourselves are out blowing up sort of experimental cruisers for the Empire.
Exactly.
And doing a ridiculous amount of swimming.
Karmic revenge from the grave.
Hell yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching this evening. I had a ton of fun, and I love finishing episodes off like this with a giant cliffhanger so these guys can hold on to their butts for next month. I'm going to let these guys all say their outros and including their channels. If you're not subscribed to any one of these people's channels, subscribe to them because you're crazy not to. All of these guys helped influence me to make the game that I made. They're all incredible. So I'm going to start on my farthest left with Lloyd. Lloyd, if you could give your outro, please.
I am very happy to play this game again. I love it. It's a lot of fun. I really enjoy that. We're not really a combat squad, and so when you encounter something that is dangerous, it feels really dangerous because there's no option for us to just go out guns blazing because we'll lose. So it really makes you think on your feet, which I like a lot. Yeah, I'm Lloyd. I run the channel Jarl DM on YouTube.
And I'm John. I've been playing T4, who is now in an entirely different chassis and looking rather snazzy for himself. I run the YouTube channel Red Dice Diaries. Thank you to Mike and to my fellow players for the game session. Thoroughly enjoyed it, as I did with the session previous. Can't wait for the next one. See you all then.
And I'm Dennis. As always, thanks to my fellow players and our GM. Had a great time. I am not looking forward to fighting 3 walkers, but I am glad I brought some grenades. And looking forward to see what happens next time.
And of course, I'm the crazy guy that's running this thing and putting these people through horrible things. I had a blast because I have been absolutely blessed with wonderful players. If you're looking for your own Star Wars experience, maybe you want to run a game, maybe you want to be a player in a game, check out the Tides of Change role-playing game club. Phenomenal group of individuals who like to come together and just play in the beautifully made Star Wars universe. If you want your own game, give that a shot. Try it out. Playing online, I find, is no different than playing at a tabletop. Now, keep in mind, I've never played it on tabletop, so, I mean, my thing is a little bit different than someone else's. However, it's still a great time. You're able to make tons of friends. You're able to play a lot more often than you would if you were stuck playing with a group of individuals at your own table. So definitely give it a shot. Check out the One Shot group, Tides of Change. Check out the RPG Brigade. Check out Absolute Tabletop. Just go online and just find individuals because there's a lot of great people out there that will love to get together and love to play tabletop role-playing games, which are freaking epic. And I have a good time, and I think so should you. So until then, this is Mike wishing every single one of you a happy gaming, and as always, get inspired.